Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host, HC. With me is.
Wolf.
And it's been so long I almost forgot the intro, but somehow it came naturally. Well,
We're
thankfully
back.
we're back after a bit of a forced hiatus, but what can you do? But here we are now, and we are back with an anime, which means Wolf picked that one up, and
What?
w-
No.
mhm. The only anime I think I ever picked was the one that my fiance got me into. So
Listen, this one's good though. This one has been a long time coming too. I
it's been a
have
long, I
been
guess
trying to
so,
get HC
because
to watch this one for a while, since last year,
mm,
specifically when it first started airing.
well, but it probably best. Honestly, you know what? Let's talk about this before we're talking about opinion. We are talking about Birdie Wing, Golf
Birdie
Girl
Wing,
story.
yes.
Yeah. In case we
Golf.
haven't noticed, you probably saw the title and the thumbnail, but yeah, well, let's properly introduce this. We're talking about Birdie Wing, Golf Girl story. And the thing is that I saw this via Crunchyroll and it presented it as one season.
Yes.
But when I go to Wikipedia and stuff, it's apparently two, like 13,
It
like
was the way it was meant to be is it's one season. They just aired it as two separate cores.
I was about to say. So they did like the American streaming thing where
Yeah.
there's a season that they split and
Yeah.
okay, fair. But for the record, we are talking about both seasons as if it's one season because
That's how
that's
it's
how
meant to
it
be
is.
taken, essentially.
Yeah. And on the so Wolf, you wanted me to watch this show. So how did you hear about it? You people know that I heard about it because you told me to watch it. So how did you come across it? I'm interested.
I came across it on Crunchyroll, saw the first episode that it was airing, and it's like, huh, a golf anime. I'm curious, and absolutely from moment one of episode one, it won me over immediately. Like without spoiling, without getting into spoilers yet, it won me over episode one, moment one immediately. I fell in love with this show. I love this show for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm. Well then, I want to start by saying this is a good show. For all intents and purposes, it is a good show. The characters are great. The animation is great. I like how they incorporate the golf into an anime form. However, and I'm going to preface this by saying I am completely aware that this is a me problem. It is a completely subjective take, and I know that it has nothing to do with the anime itself, or nor does it. Nor do I say the show is bad because of it. But golf is so freaking boring, my dude, and there's a lot about this show that I really like, but when it all comes back to a sport, that's basically nothing.
See, I'm
I
genuinely surprised you say that because to me, this made golf interesting, right? This
to
made golf
some degree,
fun.
you see, to some degree, I agree with you, but I
No,
think it doesn't change the fact that at its core, golf is a sport where you just see a person standing in front of a ball, hit it, and seeing how far it goes until it gets inside the hole. Now, granted, this show does interesting things with it, and they also go into like the strategies and
I wouldn't.
our personal like our personal and like how personalities eh, affect them the play style and
Fair.
some stuff around that which we'll
Right.
get to. But I just feel when everything essentially results in a golf match, I am losing the main story. But
I don't
again,
know. I
this is
think
just me.
again,
I
like, well, let's be clear. This show is dumb. I mean,
yeah,
no spoilers. There's a golf mafia in this show. That
I
makes
was
no
about to
sense
say.
out of context. It will
Mhm.
in the context of the show when we get into spoilers. I love it for that.
No,
Golf
I
has
love
never been this
you see
fucking gay. Golf has never been this fucking dumb. Golf has never been this fucking fun. For
You
me.
say that golf. You say that golf was never that fucking gay. I just want to say,
I
I
know.
knew. No,
No,
I
wait.
just want to say that one of the things that I wanted to quote this, and this seems like a good point. But like my views about golf kind of come, are kind of summed up by that one bit in one of Craig Ferguson's stand-up shows where he talked about Tiger Woods' comeback play. That Tiger Woods came back to play golf after his sex scandal. And it was like televised by every channel. It was viewed by everyone, and he goes, "What are you expecting to see here? He's just gonna golf. What do you think is gonna happen? He'll go nuts and start fucking the hole." So golf was always gay in every way
Yes.
you're looking at it.
I totally
It's-
agree.
Mhm.
But I love the
But
show
yeah.
still. It's just to me, right? I think this show. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you this show is amazing or that this show is like up there with the greats like Fullmetal Alchemist or Violet Evergarden or insert show here that's considered one of the
Well,
greats,
to be
right?
honest, well, it's also comparing two different things. Like, yeah,
Well,
comparing
no,
this
but
to Violet Evergarden, it's
well, no,
like,
but to me, this would be if I were to make a Wolf's top 10 anime show list, this would be on that list. Not because it's amazing, just because to me, it's just the epitome of fun. I can't not smile when watching this show. I don't
Mhm.
know. It's just this show activates all the neurons for me, right? Like it just hits all the right levers and all the right buttons, I guess you would say. And I just
and for the
love it for it.
record, and for the record, I completely get it, and I completely understand where the love for the show came from. Again, there's a lot about it that I really enjoy, and at the end of the day, I would recommend it. I just know that it's like a personal thing for me that when everything revolves around golf, essentially, it's it fits with the dumb vibes the show is given. And that's one of the things I love about the show. It's completely self-aware, and that's great. But again, we're going back every episode to a game I don't really enjoy watching, and for 25 episodes of it, I was burnt out by the end.
I
I'm
mean, fair.
sorry.
That's fair. I think the best tagline that I can give this show, right? Did you like Happy Gilmore, but you wanted it to be more gay and more over the top, nonsensical golf drama? You will love this show.
Hmm.
Do you want a show
And
that's like it's like a golf anime? Yeah, I'm into golf. I love golf. Let me get in there and watch an anime that is going to take golf. Don't watch this show. You're not going to get that here
Yeah,
at
well,
all.
to be honest, I'm noticing more and more when there are shows and movies that are about something, the something that they are about isn't really that well represented.
I
Sometimes, not all the
yeah,
times.
yeah, sometimes there are a few exceptions that I think okay, this is something they've taken this sport or this thing and represented it very well. There's a couple of anime that do that, right? And I'm sure a lot of people are out there are like screaming at the top of their lungs certain sport anime. Yes. There are
By
a
the
few
way,
that do
did
it.
you know? Did you know that the studio who made that show is Bandai Namco?
Yes. Yeah, Bandai Namco
Of
is
course you would, because Pac-Man is in this show.
mhm. Yep.
As soon as I saw Pac-Man on that chick's ball, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a Namco show.
She even calls it Pakun too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Uh, for the record, nothing wrong with that. It just caught my attention. I'm like, huh, interesting. so so with all that being said, the one last thing that's non-spoiler that I want to bring up.
Mhm.
You tell me that Eve, the main character, doesn't look like Yang from Ruby.
Oh no. I fully agree with you. It's very I can see how someone could say that and think that. Absolutely. She even has very
So
similar personality too, in my opinion.
yeah, it's like I am honestly, I honestly, I was like, when you told me to, I had no idea how recent this show is, but now that I know it's already like, I think somebody really enjoyed Ruby over there.
In Japan, I think Ruby's actually really popular.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
There's a reason that they made an anime version of that.
true.
So so
And now you
basically,
get Ruby but golf.
yeah, yeah.
What's going?
I mean, Though honestly, Yang I think I think I see her playing more baseball than golf, but same difference.
Fair. Either that or boxing, maybe.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Boxing might be
Boxing
on the
fits.
nose.
Yeah, no, it's not. Boxing fits more, but I think if I'm thinking about a sport that has a ball in it, then well.
Fair, fair. Yeah, no, fair.
So anyway, anything else to say that's non-spoilery, or shall we just jump into the spoilers?
Let's jump in. This could be fun. I'm sure people heard the Golf Mafia comment and are still going, "What?
To be honest, I think most of the
Explain?"
people who talk about this show, spoilers or not, mention the Golf Mafia. So basically, spoilers are starting from this point on. If you haven't seen the show yet, this is your chance to close the video, go watch the show, come back later. So starting spoilers in 3, 2, 1. You still here? So the Golf Mafia.
Well,
This is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life. Fucking Golf Mafia.
yeah, legit, dude. It astounds me, right, when you get into later episodes and you realize, holy shit, these people have so much money invested into golf, right? That they've
Yeah,
created their
that's
own entire underground course that completely can change up
and they
everything
have this
about it,
freaky
and
ass woman that
it stops a
and sh- they,
dam from running just to change the
yeah,
course. It's so over the top.
and there's and they have this this snake lady which distracts
Vipair or
people from
Vipair, Vipair. It's so
yeah, like that's like what the fuck is going on. And that, for the record, I kind of love it, and that's kind of why I don't want to see people play golf there. I want to see these people run the business and see where the fuck is this going. And
and
also, after the halfway point, it kind of goes away.
well, it happens in episode 4, right?
Yeah,
Which is crazy. But
no, that's the thing. It happens in episode 4, but I think like for what is the second season, I don't remember much of these people.
oh no, we beat the Golf Mafia in season 1. Like
Yeah,
the Golf Mafia is
and
done in
that's
season 1. That's it. We
and I
meet
but that's the
Eve's
thing. I was
dad,
so
who's a
pissed
part
off
of the
about that.
well, we meet Eve's dad in season 2, who's a part of the Golf Mafia, but the Golf
I don't
Mafia is
give a shit. I
done.
want to see this golf mafia being.
Nah, man.
I want the show about them.
This show's about fucking all the subtlety of a brick that is Aoi and Eve's relationship,
Oh,
and
okay.
that
You
you're
know
never gonna get
something?
any payoff for, unfortunately, which is the one negative thing I
You
will
want to
throw this
talk
show's
about
way.
one negative? If this show is ever to continue, I doubt. But if this is ever
No,
to
it's done.
continue, yeah, so it's done. But and as far as I'm aware, it's not based on a manga.
No, this is a
It's
original anime.
So I need someone to tell me what was the deal with the thing that Eve and Oi might be sisters.
No, they try to set it up in such a way as like, oh, they might be half sisters, because they've been as subtle as a brick about the whole rainbow shit and these two being lesbians for one another
Oh
and all
no,
that bullshit,
no,
right?
they are not. Let's say being not saying not subtle at all is an insult to how much they
It's
are. It's in your face. And
it's
for the
as
record,
subtle as a
nothing wrong with that.
large ass brick through an even bigger ass window. That's how
Yeah.
subtle it is.
And for the record, nothing wrong with that. On the contrary, I think their relationship is one of the strong suits of the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely agreed. But I mean, it's all about the golf drama, right? Because we have to have golf drama. Because we have to find out that, oh, these two might be half sisters. They might be sisters. Oh no, wait, it's actually more connected. It's actually connected through their both their dads were like golf rivals, and now that golf rivalry lives on through both of their daughters, right? Because the one golf dad ended up getting a golf disease, not just a disease, a
That,
specific golf
th-
disease.
yeah, the golf disease. Listen, I had to pause and make sure I read the subs correctly. This,
I love it. It's so stupid because then we find out, oh no, Allie has the golf disease as well, and she can't play golf. But
this
actually, wait,
was
she's
the
going to
most.
fucking do
This
her
was the
best to
cheapest.
get there and play
Yeah,
a round of golf with Eve. Finally,
that was the biggest fucking cop out because ever since Eve and Aoi, am I pronouncing her name right? By the way, Aoi.
yeah, it's Aoi. Aoi and
Aoi.
Eve. Yeah,
Yeah.
I might be pronouncing it wrong too. But
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a reason why Aoi is basically the same. Starts in the same. Starts with the same letter as Adam. Adam and Eve. No, I'm kidding. This is just a joke. Don't take me seriously. But anyway, that was such a cop out because from the moment they meet, they have the hearts for each other. But it's also like we're gonna play again sometime. We're gonna play again sometime, and they build this shit up. Eve even moves to like the golf
goes
school that
goes
out.
goes to Japan after defeating the golf mafia because she's on the run from them because they'll kill her otherwise,
Yeah, but at
and
the same time,
joins the
let's be
school.
honest. Yeah, but she goes to the same school that Aoi is. It's the same country. It's like for the love of God, okay? Like, come on.
Dude,
But then
she
and like
literally.
we know,
I
and but
love.
it's like
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
but like we know that these two, I thought this was gonna be the climax of like that maybe at the end of the day love would prevail or some shit like this. The show could have done it, but then they just gonna cop out that Aoi has this disease too, and Eve kind of forfeit, and
No,
then
Aoi
and then
forfeits because she
Aoi
faints and
forfeit.
everything.
No, but Eve doesn't win, even though
She
like
ties
because
it.
she
I
ties it,
I love
and
that.
that's the thing.
I wish they would have went with that a little bit harder. That they would have made it a little bit more
I,
anticlimactic. That they tied at the end, but
I tell you, and that's the thing. I think it would have been. I think it would have been great if the final match would have been Eve against Aoi, and then they would have tied it. It would have been cheesy, but it would be the cheese that the show did so far.
I
So
don't know.
why the hell not?
I kind of loved the cheese of, oh, Allie had to drop out because she couldn't hit her final golf ball, right? And get it into the hole to make it for the next day because she fainted. Because, the disease was taking its toll. Because if she plays golf too much, she will literally die. That is the idea
Yeah.
of this disease. And it's like,
All
oh,
right.
well,
That's what
she
the.
comes back as Eve's caddy, and she's Eve's caddy on the final day against, like, this golf lady who's known as the Lunar Empress of golf.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
the nicknames
The
they give.
name. The
It's so
names.
great.
The names sound like Mega Man villains, Mega Man X to be more specific, and it's amazing.
And like you have uh you know uh yeah, like she plays against the Lunar Empress, right? For the final
Mhm.
match, and she's like, "You won't beat me." And Eve's like, "Oh, I'm not here to beat you. I'm here to beat the -2 score. I'm here to beat the score that's 2 strokes ahead of mine." And
Yeah,
Aoi gets
and
all excited and all sad and all happy, right? Because she's talking about me, and it's like, oh
yeah.
my god, these two need to just fucking kiss already, and we can move on. You don't get that here. You fucking get robbed, but that's
So it's like
fine because it's
yeah, but
so
then
cheesy and so stupid.
but then they kind of do the other cheesy thing that like Eve is apparently now banned from tournaments because of her
Because
association
she
with the
played,
mafia.
because she played with the golf mafia, so it's like, oh, we can't have that in golf sports. No, 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 no. Ban her
Yeah,
for 3 years.
yeah, and then we jump ahead 3 years, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna play each
Yeah,
other,
the
and
disease is they found a
yeah,
quote unquote cure. I'm not fully better, but I can at least play for four
it was
days.
it's the baseball it's the baseball vaccine, I guess. I don't fucking know.
I love
Uh,
it. I love it.
You see, that's the thing. I kind of love it, but I love it because it's stupid. Not, I don't love it because I'm connected.
I mean,
And
fair.
for the record, there's nothing wrong with that. I have a friend. I just saw the FNAF movie with a friend, and she is angry at me that I said that I love the movie despite how bad it is. That movie is fucking awful. We might talk about it, but this movie is awful, but I love it because it's awful. So
No,
I'm
fair,
all up for like my cheese, okay? I'm all up for the cheesy,
fair.
rom-com endings, which is obviously what this is going for. But again, it felt like there was honesty in this that kind of takes away that the over cheesiness kind of takes away when you do stuff like this, like, oh, there's a disease, but then 3 years after, they found a cure. I
I
got
think it's
better.
just because they wanted to give their happy ending, but they didn't want to
I
commit
guess.
to the characters like actually falling in love, right? Which is sad.
Yeah.
I think
Which
there's a
it's kind
lot
of
of.
weird because which is kind of weird because this is Japan. Japan don't give doesn't give a shit about these things. It's not America, which has
Apparently
these things.
Japan does give some shit because like they just won't commit to the oh, we're starting to see more of it now, right? I think we're starting to see more of it now. Of the like, oh, we're gonna commit to these two girls being lesbians together on screen. They're starting
Mhm.
to get past that now, I think. But like, and you're getting more of it. But because like, there's quite a few shows of this season that are like, you know, very lesbian based,
Yeah.
and they're not
What
ashamed to admit it. But this
for
one,
the record,
unfortunately,
again, not a problem at all.
no, no, not
Just
at
an
all.
observation.
No, but like, yeah, it's fair. This show unfortunately didn't commit to it, and maybe they didn't want to. Maybe the writers, that's not what they wanted to do. But again, when you have like the first fucking episode, these two characters meet, I'm gonna shoot you through
Yeah,
with
like
my
as soon as
rainbow
the
bullet. Fuck you,
and
show. I'm in. Let's go.
that's the thing though that all the jokes aside about about it being cheesy and all that, I think there's a really interesting and honest connection between the two based on how the show presents them, because one of the things that we know one of the things they connect over the way they play golf.
Mhm.
And Eve is very rough. She only knows she they and also they established that she only knows to hit the ball as strong as she could. She's all false. She doesn't take things into account. She just hits it as hard as she can. Aoi, on the other hand, has a different method, that she's very calculated, and she knows the exact angle in which she hits the ball. And so it's basically, it's brains versus brawn kind of thing.
Mhm.
And and then they also say that when both of them walk on the court, the their opponent the opponent is kind of like, oh, Eve only hits hard but she doesn't really think. And then they underestimate her because of that, and she ends up playing them all by the end. And again, everyone sees how Aoi is like so sweet and like, I can't wait to play you. This is gonna be so fun. But then they see how calculated she is, and she brings them down because of it. I love this dynamic between the two. This dynamic felt real because they are complete opposite contrast to each other, but they are also more similar than meets the eye. That is one. I'm not kidding. This is probably one of the best relationships, romantic or otherwise, I've seen in a show. This is written so well.
No, I completely agree. Right? It's it just it works and it's fun, and you're absolutely right. Right? It contrasts each other very well, and you do see these characters grow and learn as they play more golf against each other and against other stronger and stronger opponents. Right?
Hmm.
And they learn more each and every time,
Yes.
and it's just fun.
Hmm. It's really fun. Honestly, it's kind of sad that besides these two, again, I'm trying to think about the other. We talked about the golf mafia. That's a cool concept, which I was kind of hoping would play a bit more of a part. Again, because I've seen the entire show in a row, I had no idea that they split it into two seasons until a few hours ago. But it kind of felt like, okay, I guess this is done and we'll never mention it again. Moving on. And in a way, I guess I appreciate how season two wants to be more personal to some degree.
Yeah, it wants.
But
I think season two, like season one, is very focused. Is very Eve focused, right? It's focused on Eve and all of the things that get in her way from playing a full actual round of golf with Aoi, right? And then
mhm,
season two is a little bit more Aoi focused, where it's like, oh, hey, we're gonna delve into these girls' like actual history and their parents and who they were, and we find out that, again, like Aoi's dad was her coach and ends up also being Eve's coach as well, and Eve's dad was actually the guy that Aoi's mom was supposed to marry. And
mhm.
we find out that Aoi's grandfather's a huge golf elitist dick, right?
Mhm.
And we find
Golf
out.
elitist dick. That's like a phrase that I never thought I'll hear in my life, but
Well,
here
you
we are.
heard it now.
Yeah,
And we
I'm
find
not
out,
I'm not complaining.
and we find out that, oh, these two, and they have a little bit of the drama. It's like, oh, these two might be sisters or half sisters. No, they're just their dads were golf rivals, and you know Aui's uh the the guy Aui's mom did end up marrying actually ended up having an affair on her with Eve's mom, who's related to the head of the golf mafia, or one of the heads of the golf mafia. And they had a secret kid that no one knew about, and then both of
Honestly,
them
but
died.
at some point, I just started losing the fucking thing. Like, you're explaining it to me now, and it's still confusing. I'm like,
It's
wait, who?
so convoluted, right?
Yeah,
It's
like,
too
listen,
convoluted.
I
But
am
it's
sad to say that I grew up watching soap operas, and that shit was
same.
easier to follow.
Same. Don't disagree.
Yeah,
But that's what this
yeah.
is, right? Like, this is just so much drama for the sake of drama, because we can't let these two play a round of golf. We got to come up with things to make it impossible for them to play a round of golf, right? They can't have it yet. We can't have it.
Honestly, how
Give
much do
Allie a
you want to
golf
bet?
disease.
How much do you want to bet they wanted these two to be together and play together by the end? But then the studio was like, listen, here are our notes. And they're like, shit, shit, shit. What are we doing?
Extend it out. Make it longer.
Yeah.
Fuck. Golf Mafia. Okay, that's at least 4 episodes. All right, locked in.
They're
Golf
sisters, but they're
disease.
not. Oh shit. How are their sisters? Their dad had an affair. Their dad had an affair with
Well,
her mother. What?
yeah.
Again,
Well, then, well, no. Her mom had Owie already was already pregnant with Owie before she married her quote unquote dad, and so Eve's dad ended up leaving to have an affair because he went on an adventure overseas, and it's like, oh god, it's so dumb. But they're not sisters at all. They're genuinely not related. But
yeah.
fuck you if we're not gonna make it confusing to make you think they are. But they're genuinely not related at all. Like, that's the whole point.
Mhm. Which, to be honest, I am sad to report that I've heard of cases where where sub siblings actually got married. It's a thing that
Well, it is a
happens.
thing.
So
It can happen,
yeah, so
and not even an on purpose thing, right?
not judging in case anyone who did this is listening, but but it is one of those. It's not that much. The fact is that it happened. So I don't really see the big taboo of like trying to use that as an excuse why they won't be together.
But
But
again, like
I
we've not even
it's so
touched
weird.
on, right. I love the golf abilities where you see episode
Yeah,
one, like Eve's aiming a gun at her
that
intended
got
thing,
me.
and like the first episode, she's like, all right, gun cocked, gun loaded, fires the fucking golf ball through a train, hits a
Hmm.
fucking hits a fucking rake on the course
Yeah.
on the other side of the train, and fucking flips it to where it stabs in the ground, and the golf ball goes into a hole to hit a hole in one. It's so stupid. And then you see
Yeah.
later on Owie has her shining wings ability, quote unquote. And
Mhm.
you have the final episode where it's like, all right, I can't play in this game, so Owie's gonna become Eve's caddy, like I said before, and we're gonna combine our abilities. Owie's gonna hand Eve her golf club, her special 48-inch golf club, the Shining Wings,
Mm.
and they're gonna combine
Uh,
their abilities to make the oh, what was it, the Shining Rainbow Burst
y-
shot. It's
yeah.
and it's gonna fucking have a rainbow behind it that's gonna burst, and it's gonna turn into a bunch of phoenixes flying away. And it's like, oh, show, I love you. I
Yeah,
love
that
how over
was
the top you are. I love how
that.
silly you are.
I do like it because, and this is something I was thinking about, that essentially anime is all about, announcing attack names, and, the animation can kind of, spin around the character and while they do this transformation that causes. Golf is actually a pretty good sport to do this with.
It is. It
As much
it
as
does work. Like, it's very Super Mario Golf
it
esque, right?
honestly, I was about to make a joke that I think I'm not sure. I played the Mario Golf one. I think it was on the GameCube at a
Mm-hmm.
friend's a long time ago. But
Same.
I remember that like whenever you use like the special hit, like the special attack, it sounds like an explosion happened like a kilometer away. And this kind of reminded me of that when they do the special attacks. I'm like, so that's why the special shot in Mario Golf sounds like that. That it's like so yay nostalgia, I guess.
No, fair.
So other than that, I that's another thing about once you go past them the golf mafia and they maybe have sisters and like
The golf disease.
yeah, and the golf this is we are kind of left with essentially a bunch of people playing golf, and I don't really
Pretty
have
much.
much commentary to give on this
No, I
because it's
mean,
golf.
like, yeah, I'm not a super golf person. I can't tell you if everything here is exact and it's like, oh, if I'm into golf, I'm
Honestly,
gonna love this. You
one
probably
thing
won't be, right?
one thing that was I was interested in because they talk about whichever kind of bat they're gonna use, and this is something that actually got me interested because I don't know one thing about golf besides the basics. Again, it's not I'm not a sports person. I never played for myself,
Sure.
but does the golf bat actually matter? Because they talk about it in terms of maybe it does change something about the force of the hit or the angle
Yes.
of the hit. Does it actually
Yeah.
matter?
Well,
I
I don't
never.
know if it can change the angle, but it can change the force, and it depends on like the terrain you're in, right?
Mhm.
But generally speaking, I think the way they make the clubs, right, is that the ones that can hit a lot further and a lot harder tend to be made a lot lighter with the head being
Mhm.
really heavy. And like,
Yeah,
I don't know if have you ever played like putt putt?
no, I don't think I did.
Oh, you haven't? Well, the putters, right, when they do the really short shots, generally tend to be a lot heavier. That way it
Yeah.
or they make them a lot heavier from what I know and understand. Don't quote me. Again, not a
Hmm.
golf person myself, but I know a little bit. But yeah, like
Hmm.
they tend to make the clubs differently. Like generally your ones that can hit a lot further and a lot higher and a lot harder tend to be made a lot lighter so they can do that. And your heavier ones tend to be made heavier so you get shorter shots, but you can more be more like precise with your shots essentially, right?
Hmm.
Generally when you drive down range, you're not necessarily you're trying to be precise to a degree, but that precision is going to be lost a little bit. And golf's super dependent on the wind as well because that can drive the
Yeah.
ball a lot. Like there's a
And
lot
also, and I
when you
think they
get down
do
to it.
do. There is a point in the show where I think they take into account that the wind, and if the ball lands on a hill and the wind is just right, it can give it an extra push
Yep.
to get into the hole.
They even actually talk a little bit about putting like spin on the ball and backspin on the ball to make it roll backwards somewhat if you need it to, stuff like that. Now, this
Hmm.
show's a little bit silly with it because like Eve does this a lot where it's like hit the ball and it starts to speed up as it does its backspin to go back towards the hole. And it's like, okay, now you're being a little bit anime with it, but it's just fun. It's
Mhm.
silly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again,
Yeah,
and
like
I think that's the point. Again, I am going to say this: golf fan, not golf fan. I think everyone will tell you that they take a few liberties with the physics of these balls.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
this
most definitely.
let's say I don't care. I don't care how strong you are. I think even if Superman hit a golf ball, I don't see that golf ball breaking a freaking tree branch.
I mean, there's like consistently right. I don't think most people can accurately hit a golf ball and get it on course very accurately and consistently at over like these girls are teenagers, one, remember this, right?
Hmm.
And they
Yeah.
consistently hit like 280, 290, 270 yards. I think that's generally considered like top tier golf, right? Even your
Hmm.
best golfers would have a little bit of trouble, I think, doing that consistently. And especially when we get to like the very end when she's hitting 300-yard drives at the very end with their combined
You know
special
something?
attack. It's like I think that's
Yeah.
considered I think 300-yard drives
Honestly,
is considered like
you know what would be fucking
super
amazing?
hard to do.
Yeah, most likely, but I'm not sure if you know, but that there are these YouTube channels now where lawyers or doctors or whatever actually watch shows and movies which focus on their profession, and they actually analyze it in terms of how accurate this is.
But I would love to see a
I
pro
would lo-
golfer.
I would love to see Tiger Woods sit down and binge this thing. Somebody get
Maybe
Tiger
not,
Woods to
maybe not
binge
Tiger
this
Woods,
and then
but
make.
I would love to see a pro golfer just come in.
That's just the first name I have in
No,
my
no,
when I
fair. I
think of a
think that's
pro.
the only golf name you know. It's the only golf name I know too.
I'll tell you what. There are only two names I associate with golf: Tiger Woods and Mario. Anything else?
Fair.
And maybe Michael Jordan because of that one sequence in Space Jam.
That and I guess like Adam Sandler as well because of Happy Gilmore, but that would be it.
Yeah, that's
that's
that's really pushing
that's
it,
yeah, that's
but
pushing. Wait, Happy Gilmore is pushing it, but fucking Space Jam isn't.
I didn't say I'm not pushing it, but I just said I just said it as a joke. But
We're talking about Birdie
no,
Wing. This show
because
also
no,
pushes it. Let's be honest.
no, but you know something in Space Jam, it's a freaking plot point because when they play golf, Bugs Bunny uses a magnet to pull the ball into the hole so that Michael Jordan could get into the Looney Tunes world. It's very important. It's very golf based.
Listen,
Very.
the best scene from fucking Space Jam was what's
I
his name digging that fucking hole in the golf course.
no, listen. Space Jam is it's a fucking classic, and every bit
It's
of
an
it is a
ad,
free
and I
is
love it.
yeah. I guess in a way, Birdie Wing is trying to be okay. Not really, not really. I'm joking here, but Birdie Wing is trying to be this age of Space Jam because this age of Space Jam sucked.
I wouldn't say, well, yes, it did, but I wouldn't say because Space Jam essentially the original movie was essentially just an ad, right? That's
Yeah,
all it
of
was
course.
an ad,
Wolf,
and it
Wolf.
just was
That's why I
amazing,
said
right?
I'm joking.
No,
I
no.
know this is dumb. I know
Again,
this is okay.
I would
Just
compare
making
this
sure.
more to Happy Gilmore, right? Like this is anime's Happy Gilmore essentially.
Can
But as I said,
now
Happy
I want to
Gilmore,
have
but more
I
gay
want to see.
and
You need to. You realize
more
that now I
golf
want to
drama.
see a Happy Gilmore sequel where Adam Sandler plays the head of the mafia leader.
That'd be great. Let's go, Adam. Yeah, I know you
The
can
the
do it
head
and
of the
have some
golf
fun with
mafia.
it.
The head of the mafia leader. What the hell did I just said?
The
But
mafia. No, he plays the head of the mafia leader in a jar. Like it's good at golf. It knows how to
it's
golf.
just a head.
It's just a
So he
head.
just so he's basically playing Walt Disney.
Yeah, he's playing like yeah, Walt Disney is the leader of the golf mafia.
Yeah. Well, what do you
Nobody knew.
think? That with three balls, he controls this whole planet because these three balls create Mickey Mouse's head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You didn't know
This
this,
is
did
not
you?
how I feel. This is not how I thought this podcast would go. But all
This is
right.
what happens when you talk about golf. You
Yeah,
can't
I
talk about
guess.
golf seriously. No one talks about golf seriously.
Uh,
All the golf players in the chat. Oh,
no,
okay.
like listen to the people who actually enjoy golf. By all means, enjoy it.
No, no,
Right?
fair,
We
fair,
are
yeah.
not. There's no judgment here.
No,
Do enjoy the game. Just because it's not my thing doesn't mean that you can. But it's all you need to realize though, and I think some golf players do know. It's not an interesting sport to actually sit down and watch.
and I think no, fully agreed with you, right? Like it's not something that I would go out of my way to watch. It's something that I think is more fun to, at the very least, go and hit the ball right,
Hmm.
and possibly more fun to play than it is to actually sit
Like
back and
I
watch.
assume that, like, let's say if I go with a bunch of friends and we try to play it, and there's probably going to be some sort of fun to be had, I think. But like if you put us on TV and tell me watch this, I'm like, no way.
But I think it is a testament that the show manages, for the most part, even when it just is doing just straight golf and there's nothing crazy going on, it's still fairly fun to watch. I love
Yeah,
how
like again, the fact that I'm not out of this going,
I
I was
will.
completely bored. Like, yeah, I didn't love the show, but the fact that there's more good that I can talk about is a testament.
I will never not. I will probably have the guitar riff from this show stuck in my head for quite some time. That whenever we're getting into like, oh, it's in the boss battle, darn it now, I will have that shit stuck in my head for
Oh yeah.
so long because
Hmm.
they play that riff so much to really like, oh shit, we're in it now. We're golfing, man.
Yeah,
We're
honestly,
golfing.
to be honest, that riff made me think of. I'm sorry that I'm going to say this because this company is no longer around and may it die in hell. But for kids entertainment, whenever when they dubbed Sonic X, they would just have this tune that that wasn't in the original Japanese version, but this whenever Sonic does something heroic. I was almost expecting. I thought like, oh my god, Four Kids would wait. Four Kids is gone, and this is the Japanese version. Like, where is this? Why this track specifically? Did the composer run out of time?
I think
But
I think this show to me, right, it is unapologetically what it is. It knows what
and
it is, and
and
it's
for the record, other
unapologetic
shows
about
do
that.
that too.
Yeah.
Other shows do that too. But but just because you mentioned that, I had the need to talk about it.
Oh no, fair, fair. Like even the intro for this show, right? The opening song, that Venus line, like that shit's gonna stick in my head for so long. I'll never forget
Hey,
that.
songs in general stick in your head, and
I mean, true, but
they live their rent free without any worry. Like I
the
haven't
four
seen a
kids
sing.
song for
I
One
no, like
Piece.
I haven't seen a single episode of One Piece, but some of the Japanese theme songs are living in my head. Okay, and especially the folk kids rap, but that's
Yeah,
another
I mean
story.
that one will never not die. Yayo yayo, man.
Yeah. Yayo yayo man, you just sounded so you you sounded more more cool saying that than the song ended up being.
Listen,
That's
that song has been remixed by so many people to sound so much better and so much cooler, and I love that.
Mhm,
But I also kind
mhm.
of hate that. But
Yeah.
I can't disrespect it, right? That is
Mhm.
that is like the anime thing at this point. That fucking song.
So
It
back to
haunts me.
Birdie Wing for a second
Birdie.
because this is I do have to ask because again maybe it's because I am not familiar with it, but is there a reason it's called Birdie Wing? Is this related to golf somehow? Am I missing something?
Oh, don't ask me. I don't know.
Uh,
I assume it's Birdie Wing because, we got Owie's shining wings, and Eve's ball is like has literally a like the golf ball she used has that little wing symbol on it, right? Because we want the golf balls to fly.
yeah, so I guess it's just because the golf balls fly. There's no other reason. Okay, that's fair. I
Like
wasn't
there
sure.
might be other reasons, but yeah. Like I mean, it's also birdie as in like, hey, you want to get up birdie in golf, right? Because like that's the thing because that means you're playing under par, right? And
Mm-hmm.
golf has a lot of the it's also like a lot of the golf things if you're playing under par, right? Like there's eagle if you get, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
birdie is if
Fly.
you're like one under, eagles if you're two under, albatross is if you're like three under, right? And all of it's birds, right?
You are asking the wrong guy, but thanks for the lesson. I'll remember that.
I'd have to look it up.
Mhm. So,
I'm
anything else
looking
to
it up.
say?
Golf scores.
Because I think we're kind of stretching the we're kind of scrapping the barrel. So, anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, I just watch the show if you've not. It's very fun. Like as I said before, it is unapologetic as to what it is. If you get into this show and you're like, oh man, like Eve and Owie's relationship is really great together, don't expect any payoff for that. You're not gonna get it. Don't expect like I would say the ending. Is I do agree a little bit of a cop out, kind of weak, but I get it for what they want to go for. This is meant to, from moment one to the end, to be a very happy show where it's just fun. It's just unapologetic as to what it is. It's not here to take itself seriously, and it doesn't think you should take it seriously either.
Hmm. So the one thing that I'll say, for one, if y- I did like the show, and I want to preface this because I know I've been a bit, I've been the more critical of the two of
Fair.
us.
I mean, it's
But like the one thing that I really want to emphasize here is that listen, just because I am just because I don't like golf doesn't mean I think it's a bad show. And I think I talked long enough about the stuff that I liked about this show, because there is a lot that I like. Just because the sport itself doesn't talk to me, and there's a lot of emphasis on it. That's a meeting, and I can totally see how people would enjoy it. So that's the end of that. But a few other things before we leave you. One, I want to point out that apparently there's a game based on this show on the Switch.
Yes, it apparently released this year in April.
Yeah. And
I did
I
not know
just
this.
want to point out the freaking confidence they must have had in it when they release it on the same console which has a Mario Golf already. And people would usually tell you, if there's a Mario sports game on it, that's the one to get. Forget about anything else. So maybe it's a determine maybe it just shows. I'm not sure. Is the Switch Mario Golf well received? I have no idea.
I think Mario Golf's pretty well received. Yeah, like it's
No,
pretty
I mean
popular.
the Switch one in particular.
I think it did pretty well. Yeah.
I just looked it up. It apparently has mixed or average reviews. So maybe Birdie Wing has a shot. I am not sure how good that game is. If someone knows, let me know in the comments if you play that. I am very curious. Oh shit, there's also a virtual reality based on this show.
They're working on it. Yeah. Looking at the wiki, yeah, I was reading the same thing. There's going to be a virtual
Well,
reality experience based on the series, are also and a mobile game planned to be released in the future.
well, good luck to them and enjoy it. Whoever wants to take part in it. The other thing
What
I
you
would say,
would do
I'm
for a
just gonna
virtual
ask
reality
because
experience for this game?
mm,
Oh
what about the
God,
game?
what would you even do for a virtual reality experience for the show?
Well, don't you want to run the golf mafia,
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a chance to play in the fucking golf mafia, right?
or have all the changing courses that they do? Maybe you're operating the place or
That shit
something.
is
That would be
so silly, right? That shit is so fucking silly. Just that fucking course that's like we have to like a dam literally stops working for a bit as we use all the water and power from that to power everything up to change this course. Like there's how much money was spent on this course. God.
they're gangsters. They have money.
Oh, it's so wild. And we didn't
So
even
the other thing,
man.
just this is like a very open discussion kind of thing, just out of curiosity. There's would you say
Mhm.
would you say that, like, let's assume let's assume that they make a spin-off of this, like either a spin-off that's a sequel or something else, and then and like what would you like to see if they happen to do a spin-off of this?
I don't know. I mean honestly, right? I think I'm happy with this as it is. I don't think I would want to spin off if they were to do one though. And you know, maybe do their kids thing, I guess.
Hmm.
But I honestly don't know what else you could add to this show, right? Like what other zany ideas could you give it, you know? Maybe I'm just not being creative enough, but I feel
So you
it's
wouldn't
hard.
want to say, like, so you wouldn't want to see, like, a future, like something like like Eve and or in the future or something like that. You'll just better just move on from this.
Yeah, I would say like this gave me what I wanted, right? Like I don't need to see them playing golf together in the future or against one another. I don't need to see them together, right? Like it would be nice, but it's not something I have to have, right? I think I'm happy with how the show ended more or less, and I'm happy with the experience this show gave me. Like I don't need more from it, to be honest.
Hmm.
I walk away
Well,
satisfied.
so like it was good. It was good. That's it. No need to push it
Yeah.
beyond that.
Yeah, like some things, what you get is enough. And I think what I got with this is enough. I don't need more from it. And if I got more
Hmm.
from it, it might ruin it, right? Like again, maybe they can come up with something that fucking wows me again, like the Golf Mafia. I don't know, you know, but I don't need it.
Hmm. So with that being said, I think we're done. Unless you have anything else to say before we wrap up.
As I said, go watch Birdie Wing, a golf girl story. It's fun.
Hmm. Well then, so this was it for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What did you think about Birdie Wing, a girl golf story? And are you gonna pick up the game? Would you like to see any sort of spin-off happening? You can tell us all about it in the comment section below, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. So until the next episode, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye bye.